Destruction! You have violated the pact.
Hidden in the mysterious region of Area 51 in the Nevada desert lies a covert military base where the U.S. government's deepest secrets are buried. Now, something's gone wrong. A viral outbreak quarantines the facility, trapping scientific and military personnel with an even greater menace wreaking havoc inside.
And it's basically the story of Ethan Cole, who's a scientist. He's a hazmat specialist for the U.S. Army that gets sent into Area 51 after a virus is breaking out.
You are the medical specialist trying to figure out what this experiment was and what went wrong. You and your hazmat team come into this area and all hell is breaking loose. And you realize you're there for more than your initial purpose. You are the everyday man that suddenly is becoming the action hero.
Open the door!
Watch your six!
As you delve deep into the facility to investigate the outbreak, you rely on assistance from your well-trained squad.
I think one thing that's really special about our game is you start squad-based, and you definitely had to put a lot of emphasis on how to get characters that you care about, teammates that you really want to protect and fight with.
And they're all AI controlled, so they'll move around the world on their own. In battle, they'll take up different cover positions. They point out enemy locations and help you achieve some game objectives.
Eventually, the team is kind of whittled away one by one, and you're left alone. About that moment, your suit's breached, you're infected by the virus, and you begin to start mutating.
As the last surviving member of your team, you find yourself beginning to transform, taking on mutant and alien characteristics, and developing some truly foreign abilities.
As the mutation takes hold, your vision changes, your hearing changes, you're able to see enemies in the dark. We have this time dilation effect, so hearing is warped.
You have an extreme melee that pushes enemies back, like through walls, and some really, really cool parasites.
You shoot them out of your hands, and they home into the world, and they seek out your enemies, and they siphon health back to you.
You basically can play with your enemies, almost treat them more like prey than you could otherwise.
No alien battle would be complete without a cache of high-tech weaponry.
Using some of the alien technology, the military's built some sort of new weapons. That one of them has sort of a laser sight pointer that you can use. It's great for enemies that like to hide because you can bounce projectiles off of walls and off of ceilings to get people that are hiding behind objects and things like that.
One of the most exciting things about Area 51 is the celebrity voice talent. Gamers will be sure to recognize the familiar-sounding voices behind Ethan Cole, his alien buddy Edgar, and others.
We've got some great VO talent. We've got Powers Booth. And then, of course, we've got David Duchovny, which we're really excited about, as the main player character, Ethan Cole.
By day 3, I wanted to punch him in the face. By day 7, I did.
So eventually the player encounters a green animated corpse. This is an alien using telekinesis to remotely maneuver this corpse and talk through him to you. And his name's Edgar. He's not necessarily a friendly gray alien, but he has his own agenda, which kind of dovetails with yours. Edgar is voiced by Marilyn Manson, and we actually have a scene where your player, Ethan Cole, voiced by David Duchovny, gets to talk to Marilyn Manson. So I couldn't think of a better experience of video game than like David Duchovny talking to Marilyn Manson. It's just awesome.
Are you comfortable descending into the hell of another man's creation?
In the early stages of Area 51, the player first encounters a malicious horde of human mutants and deadly zombies, but it's the enemies in the later levels that really challenge the gamer's combat readiness.
Ultimately, they end up at this leaper stage that allows the now mutated human to crawl on walls and jump 30, 40 feet and tear through metal and use these claws, but they really are just killing machines.
As you get deeper into the facility, you transition from the U.S. government into the shadow government, the Illuminati part of the base. The Illuminati has developed this super soldier, and that is their security forces to protect their side of the base, even from the U.S. government topside to keep them out.
They're definitely militaristic. They have great AI patterns where they can use all sorts of great alien weapons. They throw grenades. It's a different style of gameplay. And then ultimately, you end up in the gray section of Area 51 at the furthest reaches of the base. Those grays don't like to confront the player directly. Generally, they rely on using their superior technology to kill the player. And then every once in a while, you get a gray and you work really hard and you kill them and you feel a sense of satisfaction.
Gamers can play with or against others down the street or around the world by utilizing Area 51's impressive multiplayer ability.
What we did is put in 16 players, voice over data, so you can chat with your friends on a USB headset and give you all the modes that you'd expect. Then we added mutation modes on top of that. Humans versus mutants, a vampire game where everybody starts out as a human except for one person. Then the mutant infects the other ones, and then the tide of battle shifts, and now it's all mutants hunting the last human. So we really brought what made Area 51 successful in the single player to multiplayer to kind of create this whole new experience I think everyone's going to really enjoy.
One feature that we're really proud of is that our levels actually can scale based on the number of players involved. If it's in a 16-player game and 10 of the players drop out, alarms will start going off in the outer regions of the level, and the level will start to collapse to bring players together to keep the action frantic.
What adventure into the US government's most covert base would be complete without discovering the hidden truth behind several well-known conspiracies?
Conspiracy plays a huge role in our game, actually. We have a whole collection system based on witnessing conspiracies, recording conspiracies, and even deconstructing conspiracies.
We've got the fake lunar landing, which is a big set piece for us, and complete with cameras and a director's chair and the whole 9 yards.
All the little traditional conspiracies are dealt with in various parts of our levels to kind of entertain you and educate you in the conspiracy world.
Spending this much time working on the game made us wonder, do these guys actually believe that UFOs exist?
Do I believe in aliens? Yes. I've had some weird experiences in Nevada on a lonely road, and I definitely believe in UFOs and aliens.
Do I believe in UFOs? You know, I think I kind of fall in the middle. I think there are definitely some things going on that we're not aware of.
Without a doubt, I believe in UFOs. I've seen things that can't be explained. There's just too much out there that we don't know. I definitely believe in them.
Jack is back, or at least a fleet of proto-Jack robots in their latest incarnation. On the 10th anniversary of the Tekken series, here comes Tekken 5. Tekken 5 will make its debut in the arcades, followed by a PS2 version for home play that will include everything, and I mean everything, found in the arcade version.
We are very confident that we can perfectly port the arcade version to the PS2, and it will look and play just like the arcade version.
This idea of an exact port, along with many of Tekken 5's other improvements, came directly from the fans. Namco, the game's developer, prides itself on listening to its players and incorporating their suggestions.
Tekken has many fans that have played the console version, so they are of course used to the PlayStation 2 controller. So one strong request from the fans was that if they could play the arcade version using the PS2 console controller, they would really feel comfortable and therefore enjoy the game even more.
So the arcade machines will now have input jacks where players can plug in their controllers from home. In addition, with many characters to choose from, beginners may be at a loss as to which character to play, but have no fear.
There are some characters that are easy for beginners to the series to pick up and play with, while the other type has a more complex set of moves that are geared towards advanced players. They're quite easy to control, and with the new characters, your opponent won't know what to expect.
Go easy on me.
And if you're new or just need to brush up on your Tekken history, they're also developing a website to lay out the whole backstory so you can get up to speed on the Tekken saga. Whatever your skill level, what everyone will notice in Tekken 5 are the improved graphics.
We believe that fans of the previous Tekken titles will look at Tekken 5 and immediately be able to tell how much has gone into improving the game's graphics.
First up, the characters look great, and their movements have significantly advanced, but the real jaw-dropper is the improved environments.
Tekken 5 is really something to look at. The glare effects have been greatly improved. Also, the actual atmosphere of the game has been improved by adding the soft focus feature, which will create a blur effect depending on the lighting as it hits the character. And actually, we have some stages with a great deal of fire, like an inferno, and there's actually a visual heat effect from the fire that you can see.
And characters interact with these advanced environments to a significant degree.
Slamming your opponent into the ground will result in destroying a section of it and debris will fly into the air. We believe the action and graphics of Tekken 5 are much more extreme and over the top.
Another area in which Namco listened to the players was in selecting which characters would graduate to Tekken 5.
We tried to focus a lot on the fans' needs. We picked many characters that were popular among players. We also chose some characters that were not widely popular, but had a small base of vocal fans.
Also new to Tekken 5 is the ability to customize certain characters, making them your own.
Fight money can be gained by defeating opponents, and with this money, you can change the color of the costume of your character or the hairstyle, or, for example, add glasses or a backpack or other items to make your own original-looking character.
And as an added bonus, only available on the PlayStation 2, there are the movies, minigames, and the bonus game.
The bonus game is on such a different scale from previous Tekken bonuses that it doesn't do it justice to even call it that. It's going to be an action-adventure game, and it's something we could only do with the console version. Also included are the complete ports of the arcade version of some of the previous Tekken titles. We know that the fans are going to love it.
Hey everyone, I'm Tony Hawk. I want to thank all the fans of Tony Hawk Pro Skater series and our new Underground series. Underground 2 is the best game we've done by far, so check it out.
There's plenty to check out in the latest version of the wildly popular skateboarding series from Neversoft and Activision.
Early in my career, I was just happy if anyone even put a skateboard in a video game, so there's no way I ever thought that I would be part of a game or that my name would be attached to one. I knew there was always more potential for it, I just didn't know, I didn't know where it was going to come from.
Tony Hawk's Underground 2 combines all the best from the previous games with unprecedented ability to customize and create. You can play as yourself or one of your teammates, or special guest skaters. Over 20 playable characters in all.
We've got a lot of new characters. We've got obviously new tricks, but beyond that, we've got a tagging mode where you can create your own graffiti tag and spray it during combos.
Hey, pasa! Welcome to Spain!
In the brand new story mode, you join up with Team Hawk and take off gallivanting around the globe, taking on the team run by none other than the infamous skater and prankster, Bam Margera.
I never thought I would be a part of a highly successful video game franchise, and I'm thankful to be in it.
The World Destruction Tour has you thrashing through 8 different regions. Drop in with Ben Franklin in Boston. Break off some ill stuffing in Berlin. Bust out in Barcelona and grind the longest bench in the world. Or race some hell down under when you hit the beach in Bondi. Look out for that koala. There's all kinds of wacky vehicles to ride while the hijinks and hilarity unfold as you rampage around the world. And there's plenty of opportunity to show off your skateboarding skills, especially when you jam in the classic mode. With 15 levels of the creme de la creme of the Pro Skater and Underground series, retweaked for maximum performance.
We've got a classic mode, so it's like a lot of the levels in previous Tony Hawk Pro Skater and Underground games are going to be available, but with your new characters and with the new graphics, and it's kind of taking everything we've learned so far and going back to old levels and re-exploring them.
One of the best things about this game is that in this world, you might actually be able to beat Tony Hawk and defy the laws of physics.
If my team took on Team Hawk, I would definitely lose because this guy is doing 900s. So there's no way that I could possibly win.
I think my team would have a good chance of winning the skate events, and Bam's team would definitely win the hijinks events, so I don't know, it's a toss-up.
Even the master himself doubts he can beat his virtual doppelganger.
If I was in control of it, it would be tough to beat, but I might have a shot. But I've seen some kids control my character that there's just no way in hell I would be able to beat them. Up until the last game, I was able to do all of the tricks that my character could do, but now we've kind of gone into some fantasy worlds of Indy 900s and combos that are just ridiculously hard. My character can bleed out of his head and get back up and pull a kickflip 540, and that's just not what I'm capable of.
The challenge becomes, how do you skate to greatness and victory against LeBam or swoop down on Team Hawk?
My best advice to anyone playing our game that wants to take on Team Bam is be ready for anything and just go with it.
Here's some advice if you pick my team: kill him with pranks.
There's a reason we have so many sequels, because it's that good.
So what are you waiting for? Go check out the game.
The wait is finally over. Beautiful Joe, the crazy retro-style action game that put the joy back in joystick and the roll back in side-scroll, is coming to the PlayStation 2. And not a moment too soon.
We just went, look, we want cool characters, we want cool enemies, and we want cool gameplay. This wasn't a game based on dollar signs. This was a game based on what do people like to play.
The hugely successful title is built around a pretty straightforward but endlessly enticing storyline. Joe, a regular schmo, is at the movies with his girlfriend.
Whoa, Sylvia! Cut it out!
She gets sucked into the film, and he follows.
Hey, wait a minute. Am I inside the movie?
My young Joe, it looks like you haven't awakened to your true powers as a hero.
A regular Joe turns superhero, off to rescue his girl. The storyline is classic, and so is the interface.
It looks like an American comic. Cell shading and side-scrolling contribute to the feel you get in a comic book world. People want to play with the feeling that they are a classic hero character.
The core of Beautiful Joe is old-school platform side-scrolling, okay? But in order for us to accomplish that in this day and age, we needed to incorporate 3D elements, and we also needed to make it very deep.
The game borrows heavily from the best of action movie cliches.
A lot of people have grown up with Star Wars type of films and shows where like a typical teenager in high school living a normal life was actually a superhero in disguise. Another one, of course, is karate films, action films. For example, there's a move called replay, where just like in an old kung fu film, when somebody gets a really big hit or it's the last punch, it shows it from 3 angles and you see the bam, bam, bam.
One of the effects is slow. That's a power that enables gameplay to slow down. It's like a scene from the movie Matrix when they dodge bullets.
So for those of you that think Beautiful Joe might be too simplistic, think again.
On the surface, when you look at Beautiful Joe, it might look like just a regular side-scrolling 2D action game, but we do utilize the modern-day hardware to make sure that the player gets a very in-depth experience. So when you utilize your super moves, it not only affects what's going on with you, it also affects the environment.
The developers, Capcom, have added some unique features in porting the game to the PlayStation 2 platform. One of the biggest improvements is the addition of Dante.
Dante is the main character from Devil May Cry, but his dad was like a demon from back in the day. So he decides to utilize his special powers to defeat evil in the world. When we first released Beautiful Joe, there's a character, the enemy character named Alistor, who has some tie-ins with Devil May Cry. Because of those crossovers, we figured, okay, what character would make sense putting him in Beautiful Joe, and what character would be fun to play? And we chose Dante. If you think that you know Beautiful Joe to the core, you should try the PlayStation version because the Dante character brings a whole new dynamic. He can utilize his talents from the original game, where he has a double jump, he has a sword that he can throw, and he has his 2 guns. That, in conjunction with slowdown and speed up, makes Dante a pretty tough customer and pretty fun to play.
And just when you're totally hooked on Beautiful Joe, they followed it up with a second round. Version 2 hit the ground running with lots of new features.
In Beautiful Joe 1, Sylvia is the heroine, but she comes back as a playable character in Beautiful Joe 2.
you can look forward to a whole host of new supervillains that are as exciting and enigmatic as the ones in the first one.
Beyond those teases, the designers of version 2 are being tight-lipped about all it will have to offer, but they are willing to pass along some tips for improved play.
You can play through the first level without learning how to dodge the enemy moves, but learn how to dodge the enemy moves. It shows you where they're going to attack, and then you dodge the other direction. And if you do that, the whole game dynamics change up, because once you dodge them, then you can push slow, and when you punch them, they become projectiles, and everything changes. A whole new element to the game opens up. So a lot of thought has been put into that type of stuff, but also characters are likable, the enemies are funny, and I like that type of stuff. Like a good cartoon, but hip on the level.
Let's get it on!
By the end of the game, there's no way that you can't be satisfied if you like playing video games.
It was supposed to be a routine mission. We go in, clean, and get out. This was different. Government conspiracies, secret weapon testing, alien. I didn't believe any of it. This is my story, my journey.
Midnight Club 3, Dub Edition. Coming soon to PlayStation 2. This product is not yet rated.
This game has not yet been rated.
I caught a glimpse of heaven once. They stole it from me. This isn't vengeance. It's punishment. I never smile. But if I did, this would be it.
What you're seeing here is the violence that erupted this morning. These seemingly coordinated reality attacks were reported throughout Federation territory.
My name is Olha.
Add all the rest. You need nothing.
My sister and I will be there.
I'm Saul Villegas. I'm a consumer service web specialist. I'm given a first-party title and write the strategies and walkthrough for the entire game that we then later put on PlayStation.com. The coolest part of my job is getting my hands on some of these first-party titles or games. Like every time a Gran Turismo comes out, I'm playing that before the public. We were just checking out the underground demos at work, and we had like a marketing group just kind of telling us about like the underground demo discs, like with the content inside them and all that. And I remember one issue, there was cool moves, and people were asking about that, like, hey, we talk to customers all the time. This is what they want. So basically came back to us and said, hey, if you have any cool moves for any games that you can think of, we'll film them and we'll put them on a disc. This one time I was playing SSX and I came up with a cool move. It was on one of the tracks. It was like a shortcut, but I was nervous when I got there because it was one of my first cool moves to ever do. And I started stuttering a lot, getting just even more nervous because I was realizing a lot of people were watching me in the room, like the camera crew and stuff. And it just got to the point when like the camera crew just wanted to wring my neck. With all that pressure there, it just finally I just pulled it off. I just play a lot of games, and I always keep in the back of my head, like, if anything arises in this game that I think is cool or difficult to do, that will stick in my head, and I'll like make a save at that point in the game, and you know, maybe later on when I'm asked if I want to do another cool move, I'll go back to that game and see if I can replicate it and kind of, you know, make the judgment call. Is this really a cool move, or is this something that just anybody can do and it's not that difficult at all? The coolest move that I think I came up with would have to be for Pac-Man World 2. There's a level called like Bedoying Woods, and it took you to a platform that had 5 or 6 free lives. And the whole trick is you would collect all those. You would jump off that platform and you would lose a life. It would take you right back to right before you traverse that whole path. You could just keep doing that over and over again, just collecting those free lives. A couple years ago, I was in Boston with a bunch of friends. We ended up at a club at the end of the night, and this was a table of people that were just kind of staring, pointing at me and stuff, and I was thinking, like, what's going on here? And finally, someone came up to me and said, hey, are you Saul? And then, you know, it kind of came out like, oh yeah, you know, you're on the OPM, and we see you all the time, we think you're really cool, and it's just really funny. Someone sent me a link to this message board with all these people commenting on me. And there was some stuff and it was pretty funny, like it was a lot of positive stuff, and it was very flattering. You know, there were some critics out there, but I just take it, you know, all in stride. I thought it was funny. That's like my main goal, is to actually create a game one day, have it developed. Basically what I envision is a game that takes a fighting game genre type game and mixes in with a role-playing game. I've never seen that before. You can go on adventures and dungeons and whatnot, level up your characters, go online, fight other people with your characters that you had in dungeons or whatnot. I'll have that whole fighting element with punching and kicking, every button on the controller, combinations. That's definitely the type of game I would like to see. Basically what I would say to the public or people that watch the cool moves is, if you don't like the cool moves or you think I could do a better one, submit one in, right into the underground. Tell them about your cool move. You might be surprised, they might actually put it in there. I know they've done that in the past.
You guys understand what's actually going to happen, right?
Not at all.
And you signed up?
Oh yeah, you're my boy!
I want to be broken by the SEALs.
Go! So your body's exhausted and your mind's fatigued. For the SEALs, that means go time!
We got to the hill run, we were all so tired. It was rough. It was really rough.
4 simple stations stand between you and the summit. But if your brain ain't working as hard as your legs, you might as well turn right back around and head for the bottom.
Come on, bud.
In the Vietnam conflict, there were 3 Navy SEALs who received the Congressional Medal of Honor. Can you give me one of their names? The answers are on the videotape.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Let's go.
Thanks, man.
We'll be right back. I think we ran about twice as much as anyone else because we didn't pass the questions.
I'll tell you what.
You didn't watch the video.
You guys head back down and get out of my face. Let's go. Right up here. Station 1, right here. Right here.
This ain't your mama's backyard, sweethearts. It's called the Kim's game.
Battery, 2 pennies.
And there's a lot of stuff to keep in memory at once.
There's 9 of them.
You guys get together, take about 10 seconds, decide who your spokesman's gonna be. Dump all your information into that guy, and that guy alone will tell me what he saw.
Plastic Easter egg, 27 cents.
Time's up.
Continue.
Go.
Vacuum attachment, plastic egg, little round thing for the flashlight, red. That's it. So I remember.
Go back, look at it again.
Welcome back, gentlemen. I guess you want to see the item.
When they made us run up the hill about 4, 5, 6 times, they kept making us miss questions, even when we got them right.
We said red cap, and he goes, no, it's not a red cap. I'm like, what is it?
You guys know what you missed?
No, we didn't miss anything.
Okay, go.
Go. All right.
Yeah, that's what they were calling me names, and they had one for every guy out there and everything. It was kind of funny.
Asthma boy and heart attack boy.
The dream team?
Yeah. All we need is like a 5-year-old to pass the walk.
We don't need to be the fastest, we just gotta be the smartest.
It's like the tortoise and the hare.
Let's go, cardiac man.
We're slow as hell, but we're moving.
You better hope you get this question right.
He's Lipitor. He's bookworm.
And plumber. Hiram, get up here. Who's the current Secretary of Defense?
Time sergeant now.
Wrong, the Honorable Don. No, I'm just kidding.
You scared us. Let's go.
I think the most important thing we went through was teamwork. You can't go out on your own and be an individual. It's more about the team.
Silence.
Are you answering for your team?
Hold on.
Suppression device.
Okay.
Suppression device?
That's close enough that I'll give you a chance. It just means suppressed.
Suppressed.
That's all it means.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
No, that's not really that close.
Rock, paper, scissors. Who wants to play good? Winner takes all ready? Rock, paper, scissors. See you.
Who is the Secretary of State?
Who's the Secretary of State? Colin Powell's not Secretary of State.
I knew that.
What is it? I'm sorry.
Condoleezza Rice.
Secretary of State. Well, that's actually the National Security Advisor to the President. Sweet. And when you guys said, it's not Colin Powell, I know that. It is Colin Powell.
Okay, I'm the one who not
I'll
called this
give you
at
a
all.
chance to get out of it. Okay, rock, paper, scissors, what do you have?
Paper.
Paper? I got scissors, beat it. Go, come on. Who's the National Security Advisor?
This puts a female.
That's close enough, Joe.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, come on, let's play telepathic rock, paper, scissors.
Laugh it up, jokers. We'll see how amusing you think this is when you get sent to the POW camp. It's time to get down to the real business of the SEALs, stealth and concealment. And while these recruits seem about as stealthy as a Sherman tank in church, we're gonna try to teach them how to keep their heads up and their butts down to avoid getting shot. Or worse, getting captured. I am looking for unstealthy Americans.
How stealthy is that? That's not very stealthy.
Making this 800-meter sniper crawl was pretty brutal. On my knees, my elbows, my chin. That was really tough.
We can see these guys we know, but you give them the opportunity to at least try to practice some skills, and if they look like they're trying to be somewhat tactical, no big deal. When you're blatantly just disregarding any tactical mannerisms at all, you end up at the POW camp.
B-U-S-D. Bust it.
You are going to the POW camp.
I'd have to say it was pretty comical getting caught in the stealth and concealment exercise and being thrown in the POW camp.
It's on your bellies,
This is the blue team that was sold out. 1, 2, 3, 7. 1, 2, 3, 8.
How many more Americans are out there?
There are 11 more Americans out there.
11 more.
You tell me with 11 more Americans. You need to make up your mind. Legs at a 90-degree angle. 90-degree angle.
While the first squad of recruits went missing in action, the SEALs sent a second group to try their luck in different terrain.
Roger, you're hanging out in the open, you are.
If he didn't have his helmet on, you'd never see him down.
No, right?
Feeling pretty good through there.
Dead. Damn, man. I've been following you guys for a while.
Right. Well, surprise, surprise, I see you maggots survived boot camp, and you might even have what it takes to defend your country, as long as Mommy doesn't tell you to turn off your PlayStation and set the table for dinner, that is.
Good morning. Hoo-yah! Good morning. Hoo-yah! Good morning. Hoo-yah!
Quite frankly, I didn't know what to expect. I assumed that because of the E-Seals and the PlayStation generation that the kids would be out of shape, but I found that most of them, as far as what we were doing with them, they held up really well.
No, I didn't think I was going to be able to do half of this stuff, and my whole outlook on it's changed.
It's a lot harder than I thought I could even imagine.
The desire to get through it. It was stronger than giving up.
I was really impressed with everyone on my team. They really reacted really well.
And as hard as the SEALs were on us, they still were kind of trying to help us through it. So I felt like they were kind of part of the team too.
Anyone that can do this, they have to be a little crazy.
I think if I trained, I have the physical attributes to be a SEAL, but I definitely don't have the mental toughness. I think I'd rather just stick to playing virtual games in the comfort of my living room.
High score! I got everything I expected and more.
It's been hard, but it's been fun.
I had a wonderful time with the SEALs.
It was fantastic. I really enjoyed it.
It was a blast.
Had a great time here. I wouldn't have traded for anything in the world.
I have more respect for the SEALs. Like, I had a little taste of what they do, and I'm glad I'm not doing the real thing.